Hi friends, first of all, thanks for being in my YouTube channel. Today, as in part of this video, I wanted to explain the grammar topic, degrees of comparison. So degrees of comparison ante enti? How can we understand the title degrees of comparison? We shall focus light now. So in the title, the word degree means range or intensity. It also gives us another meaning, level. So here the degree denotes at what intensity we do comparison, at what level we do comparison, or at what range we do comparison. When we go to the next word in the title, comparison, it means giving difference in the quality of things, persons, or places. Whenever you want to define the word comparison, dear friends, you should remember this sentence. What is that? Giving difference in the quality of things, persons, or places. When you want to make a comparison, dear friends, the elements should be the same. Means what? I cannot make a comparison between a person and thing. I cannot make a comparison between a thing and person. And one more point you have to remember, when you are making a comparison, things should be the same. They belong to the same category. And they should have the same quality. I wanted to explain this grammar topic. I wanted to explain this word comparison with the help of the two words I have drawn on the board. Please look at the board. Here you can see the two pictures, apple A and apple B. Both apples have got the same quality of being big. But if you keenly observe them, you can find a kind of difference. You can find a kind of difference in their quality of being big. So I can say apple A is bigger than apple B. So when you listen to this sentence, apple A is bigger than apple B, we can clearly observe the difference in the quality of these two apples. I have increased the quality of apple A to the quality of apple B. Now keep it aside. Let us come to the next level, adjective and three forms. So why do we require the explanation over the adjective? Because adjective is a very essential part in degrees of comparison and it plays a major role in it. So we should know the definition and the three forms of the adjectives. As we all know, adjective is a word which describes a noun or pronoun. It provides extra information about a noun or pronoun. And adjective can be divided into three categories. They are positive adjective, comparative adjective, and superlative adjective. Now the question is, how can we form comparative and superlative forms of adjective from the positive adjective? This is a big question. So when we want to change a positive adjective into comparative and superlative, it involves some spelling principles. And now we are going to see the various spelling principles that involved in changing a positive adjective into comparative and superlative. So in the process, we shall take up the first spelling principle here. According to the first spelling principle, most of the positive adjectives can form their comparative and superlative forms of adjectives by taking er and est as their suffixes. They just take er and est as their suffixes to form their comparative and superlative forms. For example, high, it is a positive adjective. So the positive adjective high has been added with er to form its comparative and has been added with est to form its superlative. So here we have just added er and est to form comparative and superlative forms from the positive adjective. So the same says the first spelling principle. According to the first spelling principle, once again, most of the positive adjectives can form their comparative and superlative forms by taking er and est as their suffixes. The other examples, tall, taller, it has taken just r, tallest, high, higher, highest. Shall go to the next principle. So according to the second spelling principle, When an adjective ends in the letter E, particularly when a positive adjective ends in the letter E, it takes R in comparative, ST in superlative. The examples, large. Large is a positive adjective which is ended in the letter E. So it has taken R in comparative, ST in superlative. And if you examine the second example, save. Save is a positive adjective which is ended in the letter E. So it has taken R in comparative, ST in superlative. And the same thing happens if you go to the next adjective, brave, ended in the letter E, so has taken R in comparative, ST in superlative. Now we shall move to the third spelling principle, dears. Right. If a positive adjective ends in the letter Y, if a positive adjective ends in the letter Y, while forming its comparative and superlative, the letter Y can be changed into I, and it is added with the ER and DST in comparative and superlative. So what is the condition here? According to the third spelling principle, the adjective must be ended in the letter Y. In such case, what we do? We change the letter Y into I and add ER in comparative, EST in superlative. Come on, look at the example. Pretty. Pretty is a positive adjective, and you could clearly examine, it has been ended in the letter Y. So as per the principle, spelling principle, we need to change the letter Y into I. So here, pretty, P-R-E-T-T, not Y but I. So here, letter Y has been changed into I, and later we have added ER in comparative, EST in superlative. And we shall examine the next one. Heavy. Heavy is a positive adjective which is ended in the letter Y, and the letter Y has been changed into I, and later we have added ER and EST as their suffixes to form their comparative and superlative forms. We shall go to the next spelling principle, the fourth one. So here the fourth principle says, when a positive adjective is a monosyllabic word. Monosyllabic means what? Mono means single. Everyone knows mono means single. And what about syllabic? Syllabic is nothing but syllable. Monosyllabic word. If a positive adjective is a single syllabic word, single syllable word. So before we move forward with this fourth point, we shall have a discussion over the word syllable. What is a syllable? Syllable is a part of pronunciation that contains a vowel sound. So when we pronounce a word, the word can be divided into different parts. For example, see here, see the word beautiful. Beautiful. When you pronounce this word beautiful, the word can be divided into different parts when you pronounce that. Beautiful. Right. So I have divided the word beautiful into three parts, and each part contains a vowel sound within that. You can examine each part. It contains three parts in total, and you can examine the first part, my dears, bew. When you pronounce bew, the first part of bew, it contains oo sound. Bew, oo, oo. So oo is a vowel sound. And if you go to the next category, if you go to the next part, second part, T, E is a vowel sound. And if you go to the last part, full, again you are getting oo sound there. So every part in the word contains a vowel sound. So each part can be called as a syllable, and the word contains three syllables in total. So it is called a trisyllabic word. Why is it called a trisyllabic word? Because the word contains three syllables in it. 1, 2, 3. And what are the vowel sounds? You may have a doubt in your mind. And the vowel sounds are, you can simply recognize them by with the help of our Telugu letters. The letters from R to Ammaha. Avi letters say. Kani, when it comes to English, you just remember them as they are the sounds. A నుంచి అమ్మహ వరకు ఉన్నటువంటి మొత్తం అక్షరాలన్నింటినీ కూడా వొవెల్ సౌండ్స్గా మనం అనుకోవాలి. సో ఇక్కడ మనకి ఏమొచ్చింది, ఫస్ట్ పార్ట్లో బ్యూ అన్నప్పుడు ఊ సౌండ్ వచ్చింది, టీ అన్నప్పుడు ఈ సౌండ్ వస్తుంది, ఊ ఫుల్ అన్నప్పుడు ఊ సౌండ్ వస్తుంది. అంటే ద వర్డ్ contains three vowel sounds in total, so it is a trisyllabic word. But when it comes to fourth spelling principle, it says when a positive adjective is a monosyllabic word, means according to the principle, the adjective must contain a single syllable within that. Okay, this is the first one. Okay, when a positive adjective is a monosyllabic word ending in consonant, this is the second principle within the fourth one. Okay, it should be a monosyllabic word. That is the first one. It should be ended in a consonant. That consonant should be preceded by a vowel letter. So that is the third one. What is the first one, my dears? What is the first one? It should be a monosyllabic word. The monosyllabic word should be ended in a consonant, and that consonant should be preceded by a vowel letter. So if a positive adjective follows these three rules, first one just a monosyllabic word అయి ఉండాలి. రెండవది ఆ వర్డ్ ఒక వోవెల్ సౌండ్తో ఎండ్ అయి ఉండాలి. ఆ వోవెల్ సౌండ్కు ముందు ఒక వోవెల్స్ లెటర్కు ముందు ఒక కాన్సనెంట్ లెటర్ వచ్చి ఉండాలి. వచ్చి ఉంటే అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాము? వెన్ వి transform the positive adjective into comparative and superlative, we just double the consonant and we add er in comparative, est in superlative. So we shall try to understand the fourth spelling principles with the help of examples here, my dears. Come on, look at this. Big, big, big. Can you divide this sentence into syllables? Can you divide the given word into parts? When you pronounce that, no chance. Why? Because the word contains only one syllable within that, big. So when you pronounce this word big, you can see only one vowel sound. So as it contains only one vowel sound, we cannot divide the word into different parts. So we can call the word big as a monosyllabic word. It is called a monosyllabic word because it contains only one syllable within that. Okay, first condition is completed. What is the next condition? It should be ended in the consonant letter. So here G is a consonant letter, we know very well. And what is the third condition? That consonant letter should be preceded by a vowel letter. Here I is a vowel letter. So the word, the positive adjective big has followed the three conditions that we discussed under the fourth spelling principle. So in that case, what happens? We have to double the consonant. So that is the reason why the letter G has been doubled. We have added er in comparative, est in superlative. And the same thing happens with the other word thin. Thin is also a monosyllabic word and it has been ended in the consonant letter in and it is followed by the vowel letter I. So we have doubled the consonant n and have added er in comparative, est in superlative, and same thing happens even with the last example. Right, and now we shall go to the fifth principle, and the fifth spelling principle says if a positive adjective contains more than two syllables, if a positive adjective contains more than two syllables, what happens? It takes more and most as its prefixes to form their comparative and superlative. What does it take? It takes more and most as its prefixes to form their comparative and superlative. And you could examine this word beautiful. So we have already examined the word beautiful contains three syllables within that. That means the given word beautiful, it is a positive adjective and it contains more than two syllables, and so it has taken more in comparative, most in superlative. We shall examine the next word even, powerful. Can you divide the word powerful into parts? Can you identify the number of syllables within the word? Shall try to evaluate now. Powerful. So if you examine the first word pa, so you are getting a sound, and a is nothing but it is a vowel. And if you go to the second part, again, so you are getting a sound, so it is also a syllable. And if you examine the third part, full, it is also a vowel. That means the word contains three syllables in total, so it is also a trisyllabic word. It takes more in comparative, most in superlative. And let us go to the last spelling principle. So it says some positive adjectives, some adjectives form their comparative and superlatives without depending on the positive adjectives. Once again, some adjectives form their comparative and superlative forms without depending on the positive adjective. That means what? You cannot see any spelling relation, any spelling correspondence between or among positive adjective and other two forms, comparative and superlative. The best example for that, bad is a positive adjective, worse is comparative, worst is superlative. Good, better, best. much, many, positive adjective, more, comparative, most, superlative. So this is the basic knowledge we ought to grab into our mind before we move into the deep details of this grammar topic, degrees of comparison. So it is very, very essential. It is very, very essential for the beginners as well as for the advanced learners. We should start discussing the degrees of comparison only with these basic principles that involved. Okay, in our next class, we will move forward and have depth discussion over this grammar point, degrees of comparison. Thank you for watching till the end. Bye, dear friends.